They thought it would be just another traffic stop, a routine call. A teenage driver pulled over. But when the cell phone came out and a single word echoed to the speakers, everything changed. At that moment, the world watched. What began as a night in a quiet suburb turned into a spectacle, a humiliating moment, a viral recording, and a question no one saw coming. This is the story of what happened next. Please comment where you are watching us from, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notification. In late October 2019, in suburban Glenmore Heights, a mid-sized town tucked on the outskirts of Midwestern City, lived 16-year-old Ava Daniels. She was smart and reserved, artistic, and the daughter of a single mother who worked double shifts at the hospital. Glenmore Heights was the kind of place where everyone knew someone, and secrets were buried deep beneath manicured lawns and streetlights. That night, just before midnight on October 24th, Ava was driving home after volunteering at a local after-school art program. The sky was overcast. The roads are slick. The town, though quiet, was not entirely dormant police. Ambulance lights occasionally flickered in the distance. What no one could have predicted was that Ava's routine drive home would bring her into an encounter that went far beyond the personal. Because at that moment, a police officer would mock her not behind closed doors, but on camera, and the world would see it. The suspect, Officer Brad Milton, a 6-year veteran of the Glenmore Heights Police Department. He was respected in local circles, a youthful, confident figure. But that night, he would become the face of ridicule and controversy. And Ava, the teenager, quietly dignified, would become the subject of national debate. At 11:47 p.m., Officer Milton spotted Ava's car drifting slightly in her lane, an infraction he later claimed. He flicked on his blue lights and followed her into a residential cul-de-sac. He requested she pull over. Ava's hands shook as she eased the curb. The dashboard light glowed dimly. The engine idled. The rain had started soft, thin sheets that tapped the windshield. She rolled down the window and placed her hands on the wheel. Milton approached. In his squad car, the dash cam was recorded, but also, unbeknownst to him, Ava had her phone in her lap, recording in silence. He asked for a license and registration. Ava, voice low and tentative, complied. Milton's tone was clipped but routine until he found out she was only 16, with a learner's permit, driving after hours. Out here at this hour? Milton asked. Scary neighborhood for one so young. He chuckled, soft but audible. Ava's voice wavered. She explained her art program. She apologized for drifting lanes. She asked if she could go home. That's when Milton leaned inside the car partly, peering at her face in the dim light. His mouth curled into the first cruel crack. "You're shaking like a leaf, sweetheart," he said, his voice low, mocking. "What? Are you scared of the police? You look like you're about to cry." He paused. Ava's phone camera recorded every micro-expression. The flash of pain across her eyes, the tiny tremor in her lower lip. "Come on now," he continued. "Don't cry. You don't want to embarrass yourself." He smirked. "Do I need to call your mom to come get you?" At that moment, the world shrank to two people in a car, but the records were rising. The dash cam and the phone. Milton walked back to his car to run her information. As he did, he laughed, quietly, the kind of laughter one uses when confident no one is listening. But he was wrong. 6 minutes later, he returned with a ticket. He stood over the car, leaning forward, his voice carrying across the hood and into the microphone. "Here's your citation," he said. "Try not to kill yourself driving home, okay?" He turned. He walked away. The phone recording ended. The dash cam continued. Ava sat, trembling, the rain blurring the view. She drove home under flashing lights behind her, sobbing softly but determined. She would show the world. Within hours, the recording was uploaded anonymously. A stranger posted a clip online titled, "Officer Mock Teen the Recording Went Viral." The video spread like wildfire. TikTok, Twitter, Instagram. The full clip on Reddit and Facebook. Within 24 hours, it had millions of views. Newspaper commentators weighed in. "Abuse of authority," said one. "Teenagers harassed by police," said another. Legal analysts dissected the language. Civil rights groups demanded action. The Glenmore Heights Police Department initially responded with a brief statement. An internal review would follow. Officer Milton would be temporarily relieved of field duty. Meanwhile, Ava's name remained protected. She used a pseudonym in initial statements. For Ava's mother, the exposure was unbearable. She feared threats. She worried for her daughter's safety. Yet she also felt pride that her daughter's voice would be heard. The town was split. Some defended Milton. He was doing his job, they said. Others saw something darker. The backlash went national. News outlets asked for AP-style quotes. Excessive force, emotional trauma, power dynamics, vulnerability. Ava's recording became the centerpiece of debates over policing style and how authority interacts with youth. Detective Laura Reyes was assigned to head the internal inquiry, a calm, seasoned investigator known for her unbiased approach. She arrived in Glenmore the next morning beneath heavy cloud cover. The air smelled of damp asphalt and early rain. She carried a file folder and a quiet determination. First, she obtained both recordings, the squad car dash cam and the uploaded phone version. She compared them. There were differences in angle, but the core insult was undeniable. Milton's cruel veneer showed clearly. Reyes interviewed Milton briefly. His eyes flickered between defensiveness and justification. He claimed stress, long hours, and asserted she looked visibly nervous. He denied mocking her. He said the words, shaking like a leaf, were spoken in jest, meant to calm her nerves. He denied saying embarrass yourself. Reyes requested call logs, his duty history, and complaints records. She discovered Milton had no prior formal complaints, but colleagues knew of offhand comments, of jokes told among patrol officers. She filed those as anecdotal leads. Next, Reyes needed Ava's testimony. But Ava was hesitant. She feared retaliation. She struggled to speak publicly. Often, the only words she could manage were through her mother or her lawyer. Days later, Reyes sat with Ava in her small bedroom, walls lined with sketches and charcoal drawings. The rain tapped the window. Reyes asked her to recount the night. Ava described the fear, the mockery, the humiliation. She asked Reyes, "Will anyone believe me?" Reyes assured her. The recordings don't lie. While Reyes waited for Milton's internal review, she dug into his schedule, radio dispatch logs, and call assignments. She uncovered a pattern. Late-night patrols alone, calls in poorly lit areas, frequent stops of younger drivers. She found 2 prior stop reports he authored where discretion was questioned, though those complaints were dismissed. In sorting through Milton's phone bills, Reyes found deleted text messages. With court order, she retrieved them, lines between Milton and an off-duty officer buddy, making jokes about scaring off kids, shaking hands, getting chills. They seemed crude, sometimes mocking young drivers. Those messages were damning. Milton claimed they were jokes meant for his friend locker room talk. Community pressure mounted. Local protests. Demonstrations near the station. Civil rights lawyers offered representation for Ava. News cameras circled the precinct. The town hall held meetings. Fear and anger simmered. Then a twist. The anonymous uploader of the video came forward. He was not a journalist. He was a teen in Glenmore who had witnessed a stop while walking home. He had filmed the car from a distance, captured Ava's phone being raised, and heard Milton's mocking voice faintly. He'd turned in his own upload after overlaying the dash cam recording. He agreed to testify, but asked for anonymity from public naming. This gave Reyes a crucial link. Corroboration of the audio, the timing, the sequence. It dispelled claims Milton tried to misrepresent what had happened. Still, the question remained. Why had Milton picked Ava? Why target a teenager volunteering at night? Was it random, or was there something deeper? One evening, Reyes returned to her car after a long session in the precinct. She heard an echo of footsteps behind her. She turned, no one visible. The car door lock had been rattled. Her heart thudded. She returned inside, locked the door, and called precinct security. No one was there. The next morning, she found tire tracks near her apartment. She reported to Internal Affairs. The department claimed it was probably random, But Reyes felt more: intimidation. Someone didn't want her finding the truth. Back in the case, a search of Milton's home and locker at the precinct uncovered an envelope hidden under floorboards. Inside were printed still frames from the dash cam, close crops of the license plate, of a reflection in a mirror of the interior of a car. Also, a folded note. She looks like number 1274. Reyes recognized 1274, the case number of the missing teen, Jessica Lowe, from 2 years ago, unsolved. Jessica had disappeared from Glenmore on an October evening much like this one. Her car was found abandoned. She was never seen again. Ava had no connection to Jessica, so why would Milton write that? Was he obsessed? Was he comparing? Was he warning Reyes? Reyes confronted Milton with the note. He stammered, denied any link. He insisted the note referenced nothing significant as a desktop placeholder, he said. But Reyes pressed further. In Jessica Lowe's case, Milton had been involved peripherally. He worked a traffic patrol near the area where she vanished. Records showed he had responded to the call that night, but he had no formal involvement beyond standard dispatch. No suspicion tied him then. But now this envelope, this reference, shifted suspicion. Reyes revisited Jessica's case files. She examined cold leads. She found one detail overlooked. A young witness claimed seeing a police cruiser near the site of the abandonment that night, timing vague, but detail consistent. The cruiser's single spotlight, muffled siren, and a patch on the officer's jacket. Could that have been Milton? She tracked his duty logs from that night. He had a gap. He reported an equipment malfunction in his cruiser around that hour, but the log was ambiguous. The dash cam was offline for part of his route. Official record said maintenance, but no detailed explanation. Reyes sought warrants to examine Milton's car logs, GPS tracking, and repair records. There were discrepancies. Some GPS data was missing, purged, or corrupt. The cruiser had undergone sudden unscheduled maintenance. Milton claimed technical issues, replaced wiring. Meanwhile, Ava and her mother, under threat, relocated temporarily. They rarely left the house. Ava's sketches took a darker tone. Faces in shadow, police tape, turning tires, blur headlights. She never spoke of Jessica Lowe, never knew the name, but her instinct sensed a weight. Then came a confession of sorts from someone unexpected. Milton's former partner, Officer Dana Crowley, approached Reyes confidentially. He claimed Milton had become unstable after years of service, after personal tragedy, and had grown obsessed with control, with asserting authority over youth. Crowley insisted Milton had taken juvenile drivers too seriously, mocking them to assert dominance. Crowley also revealed that Milton had recorded many of his stops on unauthorized audio recordings on personal devices, allegedly for his records. Some files were stored on a flash drive Crowley kept. He gave it to Reyes with protection. In that drive was a cache of recordings of dozens of stops, many involving female teens. In several, Milton's tone escalated from mockery to threats. In one, he told a girl, "You will remember this night for the rest of your life." In another, he taunted a boy about his mother. None had gone viral until Ava's, but the pattern was now undeniable. Reyes listened, heart pounding. Her evidence folder swelled. She turned over the drive to the district attorney. Milton's defense lawyers tried to suppress it, arguing privacy violation, but the judge ruled it admissible. Just as the trial seemed to be settling into the public record, a bombshell dropped. In the pretrial hearing, the prosecution revealed that Milton had confessed in part during an interview, but not about the mocking, about Jessica Lowe. Milton admitted to being present the night Jessica disappeared, near the site where her car was found. He claimed he had pulled over to assist, discovered her car, exhausted, and left after reporting it. He swore he did not abduct her, but he admitted he lied about his GPS logs and dash cam downtime. He said that she looks like number 1274. Note referred simply to a personal fear that Ava reminded him of Jessica in expression. He claimed it as a bad mental tie. He never meant to share. But prosecutors countered. That was a cover. The evidence suggested more. Further investigation unlocked Milton's phone backups before deletion. Inside were cryptic texts. Find her, 1274, never forgot. paired with logs showing he drove near the same rural road as Jessica's abandoned car at the same hour on the night she vanished. Then, even more chilling forensic trace data. A trace of Jessica's DNA was found inside Milton's cruiser, under a mat that had been lifted and replaced. The mat had scratch marks consistent with removal. Milton's defense shrieked entrapment, contamination, procedural error. But the evidence held. Suddenly, the mocking teen stop was not separate. It was tied to a buried crime. Ava had triggered Milton's paranoia. Whether he targeted her because of her resemblance to Jessica, or because her exposure would open his hidden past, that was the question now. Ava, listening to the trial coverage, understood too late. Her recording had done more. It cracked open a case that had haunted the town for years. The confession released to the media caused an uproar. The trial transformed into a conspiracy storm. The press was frenzied. Milton's reputation, once pristine, lay in tatters. Milton was arrested on charges of harassment, abuse of office, obstruction of justice, and crucially suspicion in the disappearance of Jessica Lowe. The initial trial over the traffic stop misconduct ran concurrently with a preliminary hearing in the cold case. Ava testified. Her voice was steady. She described fear. She described humiliation. She asked in court how someone who swore to protect could mock so casually, and perhaps be capable of darker things. Families of Jessica Lowe and Ava watched from the same gallery. The silence was a heavy weight. The prosecutor painted Milton as a man whose facade of order masked a capacity for cruelty. The defense insisted that speculation and circumstantial evidence would not convict for a murder years past. The jury was instructed sternly. They must judge each charge separately. Months passed. The town of Glenmore Heights changed. The police station's image was tarnished. The public demanded reforms, oversight, body cameras, and strict ethics review. Local youth groups held art and youth nights, some in memory of Jessica and in support of Ava. News outlets called the case a revolt against authority, and police accountability turned detective. In June 2021, a verdict arrived for misconduct charges. Milton was found guilty of official misconduct, verbal harassment, and abuse of power. He was fired from the police department and sentenced to 2 years in prison, some suspended, plus mandatory counseling. The district attorney declared the Jessica Lowe case would be prosecuted to the fullest extent, now reopened. The cold case trial was underway, evidence mounting, witnesses called. But in a dramatic courtroom moment, one man, believed to be a key missing witness, failed to appear. His last known location was on a call with Milton days after Jessica's disappearance. Messages on his phone showed he was afraid to come forward. Some stories begin with a single moment. In this case, the moment was cruelty mocking a frightened teen on a rainy night. But that moment cracked open the earth. The laughter cruel. Casual held the weight of a secret decades long suppressed. Ava, once anonymous, became a voice. She wielded her fear like a tool. She exposed more than a bad interaction. She unearthed a potential monster. Reyes, the detective, bore the weight of doubt, of threats, of danger. She pursued the truth, even when the walls seemed to close in. And for the community, the lesson is harsh. Those we entrust with power may conceal darkness behind that badge. Injustice often wears a uniform. The vulnerable often become the only voice. But this story is not over, because at the very moment this case seemed to be closing, a new lead emerged. A body was found in the same rural road where Jessica's car was abandoned. The identification was not confirmed yet. The local press whispered, could be Jessica Lowe after all these years? Or someone else? The defense lawyers are claiming rushed identification, planted evidence. The prosecutors insist DNA confirmation is imminent. But what the public doesn't know and what is yet to be revealed is a confession letter hidden in Milton's prison cell. A note addressed to someone only identified by initials. To M.A., I'm sorry. I did not mean to cross that line. I tried to keep you out of it. The prison guards found it folded beneath a sheet, crumpled. The initials M.A. match multiple people connected to this case. Who is M.A.? A former officer? A witness? An accomplice that Milton never thought would matter? Because now, beyond the mocking, beyond the trial, beyond what we think we know, there's a new question. Was Milton acting alone? Or was someone else waiting behind the scenes all along? Part 2 will dig into that hidden letter, uncover the identity of M.A., and reveal who may still be walking free in Glenmore Heights. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on notification. Thank you for watching Cold Case Secrets.